One day, Biscuit was strolling through the park with his favorite toy, a squeaky little mouse, when he heard the joyful sounds of children and the enticing smell of popcorn. Following his nose, Biscuit arrived at the town fair, a place filled with games, laughter, and most importantly, yummy treats. As soon as Biscuit entered the fair, his tail started wagging so hard it looked like a furry metronome. There were so many amazing smells: the sweet aroma of candy floss, the savory scent of burgers and hot dogs, and the mouth-watering fragrance of freshly popped popcorn. Biscuit's tummy rumbled in anticipation, and he knew he had to try some of that delicious popcorn. Just then, a group of children approached, their faces lit up with excitement. They were playing a game where you had to throw rings and try to land them on top of bottles. Now, Biscuit wanted to join in the fun, so he sat down patiently and waited for his turn. When it was his turn, he took a deep breath, closed one eye, took aim, and let out a little bark to start the game. But alas, the rings just wouldn't cooperate. No matter how hard he tried, the rings simply refused to stay on the bottles. Biscuit sighed. He wasn't very good at this game, but he wasn't about to give up. He took a few more attempts, his tail still wagging in determination. But the rings just kept falling off. Dejected, Biscuit walked away from the game. Suddenly, his attention was caught by something unusual. As he turned the corner, he came across a tent adorned with colorful lights and the words "funhouse" written in swirling letters. Curiosity got the better of him, and he trotted towards the entrance. Inside, Biscuit found himself in a magical world of mirrors. Everywhere he looked, he saw funny, distorted reflections of himself. It was a doghouse of mirrors. First, he saw a mirror that made him look extra tall and elegant, like a Great Dane. Biscuit barked happily at his reflection and strutted proudly, feeling like the most handsome dog in the world. Then he saw a mirror that made him look super short and round like a little ball. Biscuit couldn't help but giggle at the sight and started bouncing up and down. He looked so cute, and he couldn't resist the urge to lick his own nose in the mirror. But since he was already short, he ended up licking his belly instead. He pulled back his paw and then licked his face, feeling proud that he could touch his nose with such ease. Then he came across a mirror that twisted him into all sorts of shapes, turning him into a wiggly snake or a funny trapezoid. It was a kaleidoscope of Biscuit, and he loved it. Biscuit was having so much fun, his tail wagging furiously, that he didn't notice a pair of children approaching the mirror. They gasped in surprise and delight when they saw Biscuit dancing in the mirror. "Look, a talking dog!" one of them exclaimed. Biscuit looked up and saw two wide-eyed children staring at him. He tilted his head in confusion, wondering why they were looking at him so strangely. "Are you real?" the second child asked, their eyes shining with wonder. Biscuit barked in response, unsure of what they were talking about. But the children didn't seem to mind. They thought Biscuit's reflection was talking to them. "Can you dance for us?" they pleaded, their voices filled with excitement. Without hesitation, Biscuit struck a pose. He wagged his tail and wiggled his hips. And the children cheered. "Encore! Encore!" they shouted, clapping their hands. And so Biscuit danced for the children, performing all sorts of tricks and funny movements. He jumped over imaginary puddles, chased butterflies in the air, and even pretended to be a little robot. The children laughed and clapped, and Biscuit felt like a true star. He barked happily, his heart filled with joy. This was the best audience he could have asked for. After his performance, the children thanked Biscuit for the fun and promised to return. But as they turned to leave, one of them tripped and fell, scraping their knee on the ground. Biscuit, being the kind-hearted dog that he was, immediately rushed to their aid. He licked the child's knee and whined softly, trying to comfort them. The other child knelt down and hugged Biscuit, thanking him for being so nice. "You're the best dog ever," they said, their voice filled with gratitude. And as the children left the funhouse, arm in arm, Biscuit knew he had made a new friend. As the sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the fairground, it was time for Biscuit to go home. He had played, laughed, and made new friends, and now his heart was full of warmth and happiness. On his way out of the fair, he couldn't resist the temptation of a sweet treat. He stopped by the candy floss stall and got a taste of spun sugar. It was light and fluffy, just like cotton candy, and melted in his mouth. As he strolled home under the starry sky, Biscuit thought about all the fun he had at the fair. He had played games, laughed with children, and enjoyed delicious treats. But what he cherished the most were the new friends he had made. When he got home, he couldn't wait to tell his family all about his day. As he bounded up the stairs, his tail wagging, Biscuit knew that tomorrow would be another chance for fun, discovery, and giggles. After all, every day was an adventure for a little dog with a big heart and an even bigger smile. So that was the end of our story about Biscuit, the fun-loving cockapoo who taught us that every day can be an adventure if we keep our tails wagging and our hearts open to the world. Thank you for joining us today on this exciting adventure with Biscuit. If you enjoyed this delightful tale, don't forget to give us a big thumbs up and subscribe for more heartwarming stories. And if you want to share your own stories or ask questions, please drop them in the comments below. We can't wait to hear from you and see you in the next adventure. Until then, take care and remember to stay curious and kind like Biscuit.